I've been liaising with a number of systems thinking practitioners lately who are either new to the field or may still be going through their training. Many are really keen to know what it's like to be a systems thinking practitioner. It isn't a well-known profession, although there have been systems thinkers in existence probably for the whole of history. It isn't a well-known profession because in the past it hasn't been classed as a profession. Putting the debate about whether or not it should be a profession to one side, I'll leave that for another day, I can tell you about the context of my work and that of other practitioners that I know. And firstly, I should say that the definition and context of our work is very wide and varied. We might be someone who works in an organisation, doesn't have systems thinking practitioner in their official title, but uses systems thinking in their work and has embedded systems thinking habits into their own way of being. We might be a scholar, someone who's working towards a doctorate, who studies and practices systems thinking. We might be an academic who teaches systems thinking. We might be one of the few who have a job title that states systems thinking practitioner. We might be someone working on systems change who clearly works in a systems thinking informed way but doesn't have a formal title of systems thinking practitioner. We might be a consultant who has a qualification in systems thinking, and we might be a bit of all of these things. Generally though, a systems thinking practitioner who works professionally as such is both qualified, often to postgraduate level, and experienced in the field. And how do we carry out our work? Well, this too is very wide and varied. I've heard a lot of systems thinking practitioners in training, or those aspiring to be systems thinking practitioners in the future, believe that we're given special projects to do, that they're labelled as systems thinking, have a beginning and an end, and we're given time and space to enact them as we see fit. Now, this might be true sometimes, but generally the reality can be quite different. This is especially the case if we work as an employee in an organisation and we don't have the systems thinking practitioner in the title of our job, and most of us don't. The reality is that we might work on several overlapping projects or programmes at the same time. We might be quickly moved around from one project to another. We might start something and never get to finish it because the context has changed or because the actual change takes many years to achieve. We might be moved from department to department, from site to site, from organisation to organisation. Just because you don't have a separate systems thinking project with a flag sticking in the top of it saying systems thinking, it doesn't mean you're not a systems thinking practitioner. I have tutored hundreds of people who have gained an MSc in systems thinking in practice, who are now systems thinking practitioners, but who have never had systems thinking or systems thinking practitioner in their official work title. Usually a practitioner's work is messy, boundaries change, we're pulled in lots of different directions and at the same time. We might be having to contend with very frantic day-to-day operational management situations, or a situation of high risk, or anything where we have to give really focused and targeted attention to something. Our systems thinking comes into play if and when the time is right. Then we might take one bit of one approach, apply it, swiftly move on, apply something else. And that's part of our skill, to know what's useful and when. We might have to compromise in how we use our systems thinking to flex to the developing situation. Our practice is all different and it might play out in very different ways. Now, of course, some people are asked to do specific systems thinking orientated projects or pieces of work, but in my experience, these happen far less frequently than the day-to-day application of systems thinking in an organisation that you might do as part of any job. So remember that systems thinking is not an exclusive club. Anyone trying to make it such a thing are probably working towards their own goals. Yes, there are qualifications that can give you the validation of your practice, and these should be considered when hiring a systems thinking practitioner for a specific professional role. However, systems thinking is for everyone. It's a way of thinking that can be adopted by anyone who has the curiosity and determination to consider another way of thinking about complex situations. So don't be put off if you don't have a specific systems thinking titled project or piece of work. If you have the qualification and you can put systems thinking into practice, then you're in the same place as a lot of other practitioners. The key is to make it count. Apply systems thinking well and make a difference. And never give up.